Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are pleased to welcome you to...
Hey, it's the Lescos.
Did you burp a little bit when you said that? Guys, it's October 12th.
Why'd you have to tell everybody?
They knew. They saw. Look, you can try and disguise a burp.
But if they were watching...
Ooh, if they were listening, they didn't detect your indigestion. Is that Chipotle I detect on your breath?
Oh my gosh. And stuffy nose?
October 12th is the day, which means we are just about a month away from the release of our very first ever book we've written together. Hey, it's the Lescos' debut of the book, and to see it in person, The Marriage Devotional.
It's so lovely.
By Levi and Jennie Lesko. I love our names so together beautiful. On the book.
So simple.
52 days to strengthen the soul of your marriage. This comes out November 15th, but we are giving away a trip for two. Our publishers put together a really romantic getaway.
Yeah.
For you and your loved one, your boothang, as you might call them, to come to Montana on an aeroplane, stay at an Airbnb.
Or train.
You want to come on the train, we'll pay for that too. Come into Whitefish, Stumptown as it's been called, get a sleeper car. Hey, we're down. If you win, you want to come on a train, fine. We're going to put you up at an Airbnb with snow and fireplace and
cue the snow. We will personally
healing. I was like rubbing two sticks together. That was the weirdest emoji for sex ever. Oh, sexual healing. As well as a gift certificate to Jalisco, our favorite Mexican restaurant.
But how can we guarantee snow?
I can't guarantee sexual healing either. But I'm just throwing it out there, all right? Look, you can lead a horse to water.
This is the possibilities that could happen on this
If you're married
trip.
and you're in an Airbnb in the snow after having Jalisco Cantina and coffee with us, church at Fresh Life, your own personal copy of the Marriage Devotional.
We're making it easy for you.
And you don't get lucky. Friend, that's on you. All right? But one lucky couple's going to win that. You can get all the information and enter to win at themarriagedevo.com. But we are next week kicking off a series of conversations with married friends in our lives.
Yeah.
Married people in our lives. We've got some redonkulous names.
We really have some great friends.
Some great marriages. We're going to be talking to them about some different things. That all starts next week.
Yeah.
Jennie, how stupid good is that going to be?
I'm really excited about it. It's going to be great. We're going to learn so much. We're going to have themes for each conversation and kind of just go deeper. And I'm excited to learn and grow, and for listeners to learn and grow.
We're going to be talking to people like Louie and Shelley Giglio, like Dallas and Amanda Jenkins, the creators of The Chosen. We've got some tremendous friends that we're going to be listening to, learning from, people who have great marriages, great wisdom to share, people who have done some things, been some places.
Yeah.
And that all kicks off next week.
It's going to be good.
But to celebrate this sort of launch season of the book coming out, as I said, in just over a month, we wanted to today surprise ourselves. So we asked someone newly married on our team to write down something they wished we would speak into about marriage. Out of their lofty experience of having been married under 3 months. And so, do you want to do the honors?
My honors.
We have no idea what's on this card.
Nope.
And a photo shoot. When you come to Montana, there's a paid photo shoot.
Oh, that's
with
fun.
a professional photographer.
That's really a great
Haley J.
gift.
Very good. Glacier photographer. She's phenomenal. You can go wherever you want. You can go to the top of a mountain. I mean,
just be careful.
There's limitations on that, wherever she's willing to go.
You can't,
with you.
I mean, in the snow. I mean, I guess you can, but you'd have to
You don't think you can go to the top of a mountain in the snow? Have you ever heard of Mount Everest? The Himalayas, Jennie.
I'm just saying.
There's this guy out there who's climbed all the most dangerous mountains in the world, and he has them all tattooed across his back.
Wow.
He's a wild man. They had to invent a special watch for him because at certain elevations, your watch stops working.
Oh, no.
No. And I read this interview with him, and they said, what are some of the features you love about this watch? And he goes, I don't even need this watch. I can tell what time it is where the sun's at. That's what he said.
Too much.
They invented a special watch for him.
Is he married?
He doesn't even need it. No, Google it. Google like tattoo mountains, back man climbs mountains. Like, I'm telling you, it's going to come up. Tattoo man. This is what I want you to Google. Mountain, back, climbs, and then watch. That's it.
Oh, there.
That's the one. Well, you're going to see this guy's back, Jennie. Look at that guy's back. He's got all the mountains he's climbed tattooed on his back.
Wow.
Maybe we can put that on the screen for those watching at home. Yeah,
That's
this guy like
crazy.
climbs Mount Everest and like it's like a piece of candy.
I love that you know that.
Even more exposed. I just read it this morning. Interesting.
Oh my
Thanks,
gosh.
Jim.
Okay.
And Mickey
So,
for trying, but failing.
Ready now?
Yes, we are ready. It's not her fault. She had the internet gods against
I
her.
know. It's fine.
How did we start talking about that?
Oh, hiking a mountain in the snow.
To have Haley Che take your photo.
Yeah.
You can't go there.
No,
It's not even in America. It's in Nepal.
we're not paying you for you to go there.
The heck we are.
Okay. As you go through new phases in life, going from engaged to married to parents, you become new people. What advice would you give people as they fall in love with their new spouse?
Ooh. It's a great question.
That's a great question.
Well, first of all, I would say that's a wise question because it indicates a reality, and that's it. There's constant change.
Yeah.
But the change, in a way, is not becoming a new person. It's becoming more of what you kind of already are.
Yeah.
So, the amount of change we do is like a seed opening up. You just become more of what's already there.
Yeah.
But I mean, how many versions of me do you feel like you've been married to?
So many. But it's like, I just imagine like a seed being planted and growing. Like there's so many different phases and versions. And there's the version of the seed with the roots going down and the version where the little bitty root or a
Shoot.
is coming out of the ground. And then it's like, if it's turning into a tree, like there's so much. Even I think of like tree trunks and how every year like shows the growth of a tree by the rings that are on the tree. And it's like there's just so much that happens, and growth and pain and strength and weakness and heartache and struggle and everything. And I think there's just so much growth. And so it's like, it's not, it kind of feels like a new person probably, but it's ideally a stronger version of you, a more gracious version of you. And, but yeah, I feel like it's been a lot.
Yeah.
Like I look over 20 years of even knowing you, and I just feel like who you are now is such a stronger, kinder, more tender, more brilliant, more compassionate, more curious. Like I feel like you have grown in who you were then. It's just like come even more to life. Mm-hmm. You have come more to life. I don't know. It's beautiful.
And I would say the same to you, but the things that I see that I love about you, they were there in trace elements. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think part of the way I want to answer this, because we always want to leave room for the Holy Spirit, is the word of caution when you're dating or engaged, where there's huge character defects, huge red flags, but you say like, oh, no, they'll change.
Wow.
People don't change much, outside of course, the Holy Spirit, but some of those things, like if they're there in trace elements, they're going to be there in full flag, full regalia down the road.
Yep.
Because we suck in during sales. Once the close is done,
let it all
out. Right? So whatever is being restrained now is going to be revealed then. So time doesn't change people. It makes you more of what you are. So what I see in you now is an exaggerated version of those things I saw in you then. And I think what you're saying is God's opened up and you saw in me or whatever it was, and that's what you're seeing now as it's grown.
Yeah.
So if you're seeing, someone's selfish, someone's rude, someone's arrogant, like those things, like if they don't have control over the temper of their lust, and you think, well, they're going to change. They're going to want to go to church when we get married, but they won't go now. They're going to want to be generous, but they're not generous now. That's such an important period of time when you're engaged to ask those questions. Like, is this a person submitted to the will of God? Is this a person who lives their life with God's will above them? How do they handle correction? How do they handle things not going their way? Those things, if they're there in trace elements, they'll be there in full tilt down the road.
Yeah, it's such good wisdom because it's keeping your eyes open and alert and aware before marriage. Because when you get married, I mean, you're like what we were talking about however long ago that was, but about God's authority in our relationship, in our lives. Like when we get married, we want to honor our decision that we made to love each other and to serve each other. And so you want to commit, but before you get married, you have the chance to see and actually be in a group of people with that person and watch them. And this is why it's so important, I think, to find your spouse in the church, because you get to see how they serve. You get to see how they react to someone maybe correcting them or challenging them or encouraging them. And you get to see them in a group setting. You get to see them. Like, I just think that there's just so much wisdom and lots of eyes on the situation, because then you get to see. And I think that was something that I'm so thankful for when we met, because we met in ministry. So we were both serving. But all my friends knew who you were. And I think your friends knew who I was, and we met and we served together. And even just the chance that we had for, however, I think it was like 10 months to get to serve God without dating. And we just got to see each other. And it's almost like you're in the examination room or something, where it's just like you see all the things, and it's like, like you said, how does this person react to this, or how do they have a short temper? Or you just get to see. And I think taking your time in that season.
Well, even like when I met you and you had committed to not date, and it would have been easy when we both fell for each other, because, I mean, not speaking out of school, but you liked me.
Mm-hmm.
You probably could have thought, man, I could just get out of this internship and da-da-da-da. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I could have, I think I would have been with lost respect for you. I think part of the desire was like, man, this is a girl so seeking God that she just not even interested in this, hot hunk who's who's here serving God, ready to, newly available, But I needed time to heal from the relationship I had just come out of.
Right.
And it was such a wisdom. And I think like our relationship started with us both saying no to what we wanted because of what God wanted. And I think that is established everything. So, it's like when I was like, well, if we should move to California, you were like, let's go.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was like, maybe we should move to Montana. I remember you're like, that sounds awesome. Mm-hmm. I've never been there. I know Joe Montana. That's literally all I know. Let's go to Montana. That's always been, I just feel like there was this precedent of these few things in trace form,
the little seeds
there in our hearts, that have been what has blossomed. So a word to the dating or newly engaged, like if you're having to talk yourself into some things, and if people in your life have been like, I don't know, or you're not asking those people because you know what they would tell you. Mm-hmm. I'm just telling you, like Jennie referenced, keep your eyes fully wide open before you're married. Mm-hmm. Because you'll want to keep them half closed afterwards. Because, there are the faults. There are the things, and...
Yeah, you see everything.
The temptation is to keep them hazily closed in engagement. Oh, he's so dreamy, so wonderful. It's like, but there's some character defects. There's some issues. Those things are going to blow out of control.
Yeah.
So, but that's not really the question. So now let me get to the other side of it. Because I feel like that's a really important disclaimer. It's like, oh, but he'll change. Not for the better, probably. She'll change. Maybe. There's always that possibility of a miracle, right? But now in marriage, of course, there is a vehicle for change. There is a vehicle for growth. And it's called iron sharpens iron.
Yes.
And it's not super pleasant.
No.
One of the best ways to grow is through the friction and rub, is through the sparks. And that, well, it's nails on a chalkboard at times.
Oof.
But that's one of the ways that God intends for a husband and wife to become more like him. And that is through us chipping away the rough, sinful edges of each other by bumping into our brokenness.
Yeah, honestly. And that takes time. And I think, and that is the the struggle and the tension of when you go from engaged to then married to then maybe the next season that you go through, whether it is kids or a new job or you move or whatever it is, like there is that tension because you're growing and now you're in a new season and now you're growing in that, but you've never been there before. And that's something that we even tell our kids, like, we've never been here before. So we don't exactly know what we're doing, but we're just trusting that God's going to lead us.
We tell our staff that. We come together at our summits, like, FYI, never been here before.
Yes.
No idea what we're doing, but we're going to trust God.
Yeah.
Making this up as we go along a little bit.
But there's such a beauty in that and such a freedom in that to grow. And I think when both husband and wife have a grace and a compassion and empathy and willingness to ebb and flow and flex and give, and if your spouse is having a hard time, like giving grace and communication and everything, I think you just kind of you can grow together and you can ease into a next season with strength and knowing that it's not going to be pretty all the time, knowing that it's going to be messy. I mean, we've been married 18 and a half years, and I feel like this summer, I feel like we've hit a different stride, like a new rhythm, and it's been strengthening all along the way. And there's been joys and highs and lows and hard things every step of the way. But I feel like we've kind of hit like
a new sense of unity.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like.
Yeah. Same.
I love you. But I think allowing the grace, and we don't always hit those new benchmarks, which the question referenced parenthood. The question, now all of a sudden, it's a career change, or it's new responsibility shifts, or whatever. Building a new house. Like, there's so many stresses on those things, and that's going to bring out, at times, wrong reactions, immaturity, trigger wounds. All these things get brought up, and so I think you have to realize that you're going to help them become this new version of themselves by bumping into those rough edges, and that friction, that conflict, is, if you respond to it right, yielding, listening, being curious, trying to understand, not telling each other what they're doing, but asking, hey, when you do this, is this what you mean? Because this is how it feels. When you're more in that place of the learner, that childlike innocence, when you foster that, when you're empathetic, I wonder what that feels like. Yeah. Seems like that's bringing up a strong reaction. Am I right in saying that you're confused? Because a lot of times when we act angry, it's because we are feeling betrayed or feeling small or whatever. So when we ask questions instead of just assuming and telling them what they're feeling, it can actually bring about the opportunity for vulnerability, which is the gateway to unity. Yeah. You can be together when you've been vulnerable. When I see you, into me you see. Right. And when you see me naked without the fig leaves of how I want to react, and I'm actually allowing you to see my soul, and it's like, oh, I'm actually really just terrified because I don't know if I have what it takes to be a dad. Yeah. Then I'm not just like, you're always busy, you're always on your phone. It's like, well, I just don't know if I can do this. Like, and I can actually just say, hey, I'm actually like afraid to be a dad. Like, or I'm afraid about this new whatever. Then that's the building blocks for that kind of unity. Now we're together on this. Yeah.
And I think it starts with that humility with the Lord. I mean, I just always think of Psalm 139, search me, O God, and know my heart. See if there's any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. And I just think that as we have that humility, even with the Lord, like, God, why am I reacting like this? Like, I think just taking the time to see, like, that this isn't, like, this reaction is not healthy. Lord, what is going on? Like, can you, like, search me? But then with each other, having that openness, I think what you said is so perfect and so valuable, because to be able to communicate and say, this is actually hard for me. Mm-hmm. Then you're opening up, and then you're letting your spouse in to be like, oh, let's talk about this. This is a hard thing.
And one thing that could be helpful that we've found help from and is available just through Googling is you could look for an emotional vocabulary color wheel. and it shows all the primary and secondary emotions. And there's a whole lot more within just angry. There's a whole subcategory of words. And if you just look at it, and when you're flustered or together, like, hey, what do these words speak of or make you think of, to actually be able to articulate, oh, here's actually where I'm feeling in that vocabulary wheel. There's not just the few that you think of. There's dozens of different ways you can actually feel that can help give language and shape what you're actually going through in a moment, and maybe help you pinpoint where it's coming from.
Yeah.
But when it comes to that new season and wanting to serve and love them, and at times feeling like maybe my spouse just isn't living up to their new responsibility, or they're not who they could be in this season, the tendency is to want to fix them. But newsflash, man, you can't fix your wife. You can't change your wife, and vice versa.
Yeah.
One of the ways we actually help them get there, of course, in addition to praying for them, and when the opportunity comes to speak the truth in love, is through us giving what we want.
Yeah, exactly.
Giving what we want. Like Joseph. All he ever wanted was for people to listen to his dreams. That's why he got put into a pit by his brothers. But in the end of his story, he's listening to everybody else's dreams.
Yeah.
Pharaohs, the bakers, the cupbearers. It's incredible to think that the transition came when he stopped trying to make everyone else listen to his dream, but he listened to theirs.
Yeah.
And I think in marriage, when we give what we wish we could receive, if I feel like you're not receiving, but if I feel like you're not paying attention, I pay extra attention.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of backing off on your role, love and respect, as it's been said. If I feel like you're not respecting me, well, I'm not going to love her. Well, no, give what I want.
Yeah.
I want that, so I'm going to give more of it. That's how Jesus loved us.
Yeah. It's laying down your life. It's not making much of yourself. It's preferring the other.
Yeah, right. Jesus didn't get us to the version of ourselves he wanted us to be by demanding it. He gave his life.
Yeah.
And in giving, we look at him and go, oh, I want to love you.
Yeah.
So
it changes everything.
When the gospel is at the foundation for your marriage, not just in lip service, but in day-to-day reality, that you're, like Paul said, Ephesians 5, I speak of the mystery, that which is Christ concerning the church, in a lengthy passage explaining the function of marriage. He's giving us the secret. Well, the mystery is Christ in the church. So when my ethic for how I'm approaching you comes from how Jesus treated me, well, that changes everything.
Yeah.
And I can't go, well, she didn't deserve it. It's like, yeah, welcome to the club. Did you? Did you deserve Jesus' bloody death on the cross? No, sir. Did not.
Yeah.
Well, then you can lay your life down for your wife.
Yeah.
You can make the bed, pal, if that is your real name.
Pal. That's good stuff.
Well, this was fun. I like that.
Good question, Mickey.
If that is your real name. Names have been changed to protect the innocent. So the Marriage Devotional series begins next week on Hey Celescos. We're going to be talking about marriage through the fall. It's going to be a fall of marriage.
It's going to be fun.
It's autumn. Leaves are changing. Things are heating up.
Cooling down and heating up.
But you can pre-order your copy, themarriagedevo.com. And we think that to augment the book as it releases and you go through those 52 days, these episodes will be kind of some color.
Yeah.
Some beauty.
Coloring book.
A coloring book for your soul. Thanks again, as always, for listening to this episode.
Thank you. We love you.
If there's someone you think could benefit from, please let them know. Share it. Spread it. Spread it like cancer. Levi, that's a terrible analogy.
Oh my gosh.
You know how it attacks cells and just moves over the whole host organism? That's what I want this podcast to do to your social networks.
No.
In a good way, Jenny. What would be a better way to compare that to?
Spread it like mint.
No.
Spread it like mint.
Nothing is as good as cancer.
You plant mint and
Does it grow like crazy?
It grows like crazy because it just, I don't know why, it just goes.
So
and
this
you try to get it out.
is going to spread the freshness around.
Yes.
Like mint.
Yes.
We would way rather be compared to mint than tumors.
Yes.
I should consult with you before I form analogies. Thanks for listening. And may God have mercy on our souls.
On your soul.
On my soul
yes.
only? I accept it. Thank you so much for listening. And be sure to swing by levilusco.com to see what's going on in our world, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. In the meantime, we would love to connect with you on social media. Jennie and Levi Lusco, out.